Okay, next will be deciding what power supply will be right for your computer. I can see over here I'm just using Newegg to sort through it again. You can either get a server power supply, like I said, we're not dealing with servers, or you can get a regular power supply from Newegg. Which they're different sizes of power supplies. You have your standard ATX power supply. There's one called a BTX power supply, which uh, I don't know if you can even um, buy like a completely custom computer with a BTX motherboard or case or power supply anymore. But my old Dell computer used to use a BTX motherboard and a BTX power supply. So that was kind of annoying because they usually cost more because they're not as common. But also you have like micro ATX, like smaller power supplies meant for smaller cases. They can cost more, may not be as high as quality, so it's iffy. The standard power supply is an ATX size power supply though. As you can see, like type ATX, BTX, 12 volt, micro ATX, mini ITX, like really small power supplies, such like that. Now the type 90% of people in standard ATX power supply is enough. It's perfect for what you need. Um, you could use they used to have a power calculator on Newegg's site, but I guess they don't anymore. We're actually gonna go. If you go into Google and type in power calc, you'll see streamoutervision.com/calculator or whatever it is. This is what I use to calculate my power supply. It's also probably good to ask, like, if you're kind of on the borderline. You can go to that. Like, you can select everything. I'm gonna do this real quick. Like, we're gonna have one physical CPU means like one actual CPU core. Like, yeah, the physical CPU stick into the motherboard. That's what it means. Because some motherboards, like servers, can have up to four or more even. But since typicals you have one, we're gonna do that. High-end desktop would be if you ought to overclocking board. CPU, we're gonna assume Intel, the new 2011 socket, like the 6-core CPU, just stock speeds. RAM, we're gonna like put at say not DDR2, DDR3, 4 sticks, which would be like 16 gigs. Video card, we're going to go with NVIDIA. We're just going to get, say, one GTX, if they have it yet, 670 per se. Let's get one of those. Hard drive, let's just get a two regular SATA, well, yeah, let's just get two regular SATA. And one SSD, just a regular Blu-ray drive there. Might select like one of these as extra power, just in case you want to add an add-on card later in your computer's life. USB power, that doesn't mean like a USB device, like if you plug in a like a external hard drive that's powered off AC like won't count as this. Like this would be like a USB fan that's directly powered. Flash drives shouldn't count either because they're really low power. It's like a hard drive that's directly powered by USB or FireWire power would be like considered this power. Sometimes you have one of those, so I'm just gonna put one. Like I have a fan controller on my computer. I actually have a Sound Blaster sound card on my computer. Fans I have in 180mm LED, but well, I don't have the first parts, but I have these four fans. Yeah, one, two, three, four. I don't have any water cooling, and you put load, like max load. Like it's very unlikely you get 90% peak load because that means GPU and CPU is going to be at 90%. And if you're using your GPU at 100, you're probably playing a game, and you'll never use 100% CPU load unless you're like a super like slow processor, which would use less power anyway. But capacitor aging could be a good thing to use. They recommend down here, it says agents, it's 1+ years. if you run it like 24/7, we recommend add 10 to 20% if you plan to keep your PSU more than 1 year. Mine's been going good for 2.5 years now, and I'm not sure how much exactly power my computer uses. About just put like, I don't know, 10%. They give you definitely want a little bit. You want a larger power supply. What you're actually going to use was best. Not necessarily have to. So it's recommended just under 500 watt for all of this. You can get 500 watt power supplies, but that could be iffy on if you want any upgradability. It's mainly because you have this 670 graphics card. Now, if you had a slower graphics card, of course, it'd be fine. And if you don't want it overclocked, it could probably be fine. The problem with having a power supply, if you get a 500 watt and it's recommended 493, it's going to put a lot more load on your power supply, and which means it's going to die quicker, so you have a better chance of your computer being unstable and possibly your power supply dying because it's being put on the heavier load more often. Also, I think a 550 would probably be fine as long as you're not overclocking any on this. I have a 550 in my computer and it's worked fine for 2.5 years. And I have another 550 in my other computer. It worked fine for, I think it's been about 2 years now. That one, and not one single problem. Okay, now that we've seen that power supply calculator, you can mess with that. It's kind of fun to just like add up different parts and see how much power things use. I would definitely don't go above, like that's what they do for recommended minimums. Like it says 450 would probably work, but then they put it recommended. But I would still even go like probably 50 to 100 watts if possible above recommended for sure. Okay, we're gonna close that off. Go back to Newegg here. Let's go through power search. Brands matter a little bit more in power supply. I mean, shouldn't directly choose what power supply you get. Just look at reviews. Like I said, always look at reviews above like a brand. Like you could have a brand new brand, like you have 100 people that give it 5 stars, and you're like, well, it's an off-brand. I'm not sure if I want this. Well, if it has 5 stars, it's probably a good product. I mean, it's hard to tell like what the best brands. I know I have an Antec power supply right here, and that's my one for 2 years, and it's been working perfect. Antec's a really good brand for power supplies. OCZ, not as well known for power supplies, I don't think, but I have a 550 watt going good for 2.5 years, so that's perfect. Like Cooler Master is good. Like I don't know, there's ones I would miss that are good. Like I didn't even know some like Silverstone, for instance, is a good power supply company. I never knew that before. Until I looked at the reviews, and Silverstone power supplies had really good reviews. So, but then you have your type of power supply. You could probably just put all your typical ATX in here, since that's what we're going to be looking at. Since you're not going to get any of these different types, there's really you probably should just select that. Actually, select any, because sometimes a power search can be iffy unless you're really trying to go specific. Like you might select all those, but it might leave out some of the ATX power supplies. It's really weird. And like even if I selected all the wattages I would want, it just is weird. And I'm trying to select. So I mean, I go to power search. Maybe it helps getting rid of one thing. Like if I wanted to make sure it had at least one PCI Express connector, I could do that. Or if I wanted to make sure it's really energy efficient, I could do that too. Or modular. Modular is very recommended on a power supply. What it means is you can unplug the cables. You can unplug what cable is coming out of the power supply you don't need, and thus reducing cable clutter and making the installation quite a bit easier because you don't have all these wires hanging around. Unless you actually use all the wires, you have a lot of stuff in your computer, then maybe it wouldn't matter, because some of the super powerful power supplies are modular because they'd be cheaper. Modular costs more, but I think it's worth it in the long run. The difference between modular and full modular is you can remove everything and make the power supply totally separate from any hanging wires. But modular, usually the 24-pin power connector is directly connected into the power supply, and you can't take that off. And usually the CPU power pin is as well. We're just actually just going to go back instead of searching. For instance, for a cheap computer, you can go with best rating. As always, it seems to be, if I can find it, it probably won't be in here since it's, I think, a 4-star rated one. It's a Thermaltake one. I just have to see. I think it's Thermaltake. Yeah, right here. It must not be on sale unless I'm getting the wrong one. Pretty sure it's this one right here. Is typically not, it's not 46 typically this is like a $23 power supply, and obviously 2,000 something people, 4 stars. I mean, all power supplies have a chance of dying. It's even if you buy a $200 power supply, you have a chance of it being dead on arrival. So there's nothing to worry about. If you have people saying it's dead, it's probably just a bad batch of them. There's no, should be nothing to worry about. But this is usually like, you just have to look at reviews, like I said before. For a general all-over computer, this could even hold Power 1 graphics card, a lower-end graphics card. Like, this would be perfect for just an office computer if it's cheaper, because it's a more higher quality power supply than your really cheap ones. I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to show you the really cheap power supplies. Oh wait, I have to go back twice. You look at lowest price, you're talking, yeah, $13 power supply. I could probably get free shipping with my shop runner. See the reviews, not so good. And my friend got a Diablo Tech power supply for free with his case. That worked for, I want to say less than a year. I'm not sure how long. And it died because he was stressing it pretty hard. And it just can't handle that kind of stress, I guess. I mean, an office computer this is probably no more than what Dell has in their basic computers. But if you want to make sure your computer stays working, you probably want to get a good power supply. Spend $20 more. Even this, you can spend $5 more sometimes when the power supplies are on sale and get one. I've seen one like the same price, and it's a whole lot better power supply. So you just have to, if you're like building your computer over months, you can definitely save like $50 between parts by going cheaper. Like, there's not really probably any I would recommend for like a gaming computer here. Like, it says 550 watts, but I wouldn't recommend that as a high quality power supply, even though I guess enough people have bought it. I feel like it's just not that cheap a power supply. You're much better chance of your computer dying, especially if you're overclocking. Higher quality power supplies give a better like power signal, and that if you have an unstable power signal going to your computer, that can affect your overclock on your CPU or graphics card, everything, because an overclock increases the power usage. And without that stable, then your computer's going to crash and everything else, and you don't want that. Oh, like, looking over here, like, if, it's really the power supply calculator is your best option for choosing one. If you want an office computer, like, down to probably 250 watts is fine, but not very easy to find the high quality 250 watt power supply. This Earth Watts is a very good quality power supply. By its name, you should know it's really efficient. I think it's bronze, maybe. Yeah, bronze certified. Which, what that means is it's certified to be efficiency rating converted to electricity from AC to DC in a certain efficiency and without a lot of waste. Compared to other power supplies, most typically have like a lot of new ones have 80 plus now, like gold certified. Typically have 80 plus efficiency. A lot go into 90 efficiency now, or upper 80s, like 87. Because the more efficiency you have, the more power you're actually going to get, plus the less heat your computer is going to create, and less power your computer uses, so it's less on your energy bill. I mean, like I said, it all comes down to we're on best rated. Obviously, you see Corsair's 1, and a good power supply. I totally forgot what power supply I'm looking at. Yeah, right. Roswell. Roswell, I guess. I'm gonna be looking at one of these for my next computer build because of the lights. I have an acrylic, so you might. I mean, I've read reviews that has problems, but I'm not gonna let that stop me from buying it. And apparently, Newegg doesn't have Roswell. Oh, there it is. It's the top one. I guess I feel like they must pay to get up at the top out of the alphabetical order or something. I will probably. They have a 1,000 watt, I think, or they used to, and I hope they still do. There, 1,000 watt gold certified power supply. Cause I think I'm gonna one day I'll probably have SLI in my computer. I just have one 560 Ti graphics card, and that works perfect on a 550 watt power supply with my CPU being overclocked as well. Now with this, as modular, it has the lights that's fancy. So since I have an acrylic case, I can show off the lights and everything. It looks cool, and you can actually the LED change from you can turn off the fan LED to making it red and blue. So it's pretty cool power supply. Not really that expensive. I've seen it cheaper. So it's a pretty good price, or you can even go up to a 1,300 watt, which is ridiculous. I mean, that's triple a quad SLI. You're talking like possibly dual CPUs. Like I've seen people with two of these in a computer. It's just absurd. Like the computer is just it's just absurd how much money they spent on the computer. On some videos you can find on YouTube. But I mean, it's personal preference. Like looks. If I go show you OCZ. Sorry if you're getting bored, but I'm just kind of looking around, just giving you options. See, OCD is typically OCD tends to be fairly cheap, like $50. They always have rebates typically to get that cheap, but it's worth it to get cheaper power supply. I have their 550 watt of the Fatality, and they don't sell it anymore. It looks like this, but a 550 watt version, and I got it for like $45 or $50, something like that. See, now they have this 600 watt for 50. It just didn't. I wanted the light, so I like. Well, the 600 is not much different than the 550 if you look at that. But it's also one thing I forgot to mention. It's very necessary. Watts doesn't always matter. I still haven't exactly figured this out, but it's also the 12 volt. If you're looking at graphics cards and CPU, and the majority of items use 12 volt in your computer, you want to look at your 12 volt voltages, your amps. The more amps, the better. Gives you higher quality power. Since this has two rails, two 12 volt rails inside your power supply isn't necessarily better than one. There's power supplies with 4 12 volt rails. Definitely doesn't mean it's better because it's separated power. It's better to have one 12 volt rail with a lot of amps usable than with two separate ones. So it'd probably be better to have one 12 volt rail with like 40 amps than it would be to have two at 50. Probably doesn't mean it is, because I think it separates the power between different ports. So like one graphics card will get this, and then one will get this, and it separates the power between different components. So like your hard drives and one graphics card and stuff will get this, then your CPU and another graphics card will get this 12 volts. So it's definitely look at 12 volt rails and stuff like that. And your main connectors, as you should know by now, 24 pins, your main large connector, gives power to your motherboard. This is a 12 volt 4 pin that would go to CPU if your motherboard doesn't support an 8 pin CPU, so they have both for a 4 pin and 8 pin motherboard. Preferred would be like 4 pin power, like a fan or such like that. You would power a fan or power some lights in your computer. SATA powers for your hard drives. You can power up to 6 hard drives. You can get adapters go from peripheral to like SATA and stuff like that. 2 floppies. The floppy power doesn't just power floppy. There are certain devices like I think there's a sound card that you can plug in a floppy power and increase the amp power, so like higher quality sound. And it can power 2 PCI Express cards. like that. So it can actually power two graphics cards, two lower end graphics cards, but it's not going to power like two high end graphics cards. It definitely doesn't have the power to do that. I mean, I guess it might, but you're risking it. You're really stretching your power supply if you were to do that. Like I said, it's don't really look at brands. Don't per se as much as just the reviews. Like you have Corsair, Antec, Seasonic. That was a weird brand to me at first. Rosewell, I didn't think would have a terribly high quality power supply, but they're I guess they do make good power supplies. Cooler Master, yeah, Antec, PC Power Silencer, whatever this is. I think it's a new. Haven't seen this one before. It must be fairly new. 7-year warranty. Yeah, you want to look at warranties too. If you have a 5-year warranty, you could try getting that from Dell. Your warranty costs you $150 for a 3-year warranty. Almost everything you buy in a computer has like a 3-year warranty included. Like some things have 1 year, of course, some things have 3 years, but it'd still be cheaper just to take the 1 year than it would be to pay over $200 for a 3-year warranty from Dell. And you're already paying less money to build the computer in the first place, so it's illogical to think they ever buy a warranty extension for most of these items. I think that's all I have to say. If you have any questions, please comment below. I'll try to help you as much as I possibly can, or as soon as I can. Please subscribe for more of these videos, and continue on to the next one. Thanks for watching.